As a woman who has always wanted to go into the field of medicine, I am aware that historically, women's contributions to medicine were not as readily recognized as their male counterparts. Furthermore, I was aware that Black women's contributions to medicine specifically were even more underappreciated, but I hadn't realized that this underappreciation for Black women's roles in healthcare has a long history, going back to the plantation. I originally thought that their duties included physical labor and typical gender duties like cleaning and cooking, but through this course I learned that the majority of doctoring work on plantations was actually performed by enslaved women. However, the level of recognition they received from white Southerners did not reflect the extent of their obligations on plantations. The division of sick care on plantations amongst enslaved women and slaveholders was uneven. According to historian Charles Fett, the designation of sick care to enslaved women was due to the historical gendering of care work, the intensive and difficult nature of the labor, and the isolated location. Enslaved women were expected to wait on everyone, and their tasks included administering food and medicine, cleaning medical instruments, tending to the sick and injured, midwifery, and childcare. Alternatively, slaveholding men's role in sick care was limited, and they only intervened when examination and prescribing of medicine was needed. These tasks were considered menial and were designated for older women who could no longer reproduce or contribute to physical labor. The depreciation of Black women's bodies by white slave owners served as a justification for designating these menial tasks to older Black women, and since these tasks were thought to lack skill, medical authority was not granted to them. Furthermore, perceptions held by slave owners regarding the medical expertise of enslaved women contributed to the designation of menial labor to enslaved women. As doctoring work was performed mainly by older women, herbal remedies were a key treatment employed by enslaved women. They had learned a great deal about herbal remedies throughout their lifetimes and had extensive knowledge on the matter. The slave community looked up to these women and respected them for their wisdom. In contrast, white planters did not grant enslaved women with the medical authority that was granted to white healers, despite the fact that enslaved African Americans significantly influenced the herbal repertoire of Southern white households, and their remedies were widely adopted by white practitioners. In addition to the lack of recognition of their knowledge of herbal medicine, enslaved women's caretaking labor was also overlooked. White slave owners perceived Black women as hypersexual and primitive beings, and as a result, they were deemed as incapable of being maternal and were viewed as unfit mothers that could endanger the health of their own children. This perception of Black women contributed to their lack of recognition because they were viewed as mediocre caretakers of children, so medical authority was not granted to them as a result. Overall, Black women's contributions to medicine during the slave era were largely ignored. They made up the foundation of plantation medicine, and because of the way they were perceived by white Southerners as unskillful, promiscuous, and deviant women, they were denied medical authority and recognition for their efforts. Despite the fact that they influenced the work of white doctors by sharing their knowledge of herbal medicines, they still were not given the credit they deserved. Now that I have a greater understanding of the social dynamics of sick care during the slave era, I have a greater appreciation for the role of Black women in plantation medicine. The knowledge I have gained about women's historic roles in medicine inspires me to make a difference in medicine myself.